So our maths lesson for today is going to be still focusing on that learning intention that you heard of in our main topic Monday, is that to add, subtract, multiply and divide with decimals. But instead of doing all 4 operations in one day, we're going to start with adding with decimals. So this is something that you should already have done before, so it's a bit of a revision, as well as a revision on the rules of addition as well. So we're going to go through some examples and you're going to have a go and we'll see how you go. This is the first time I've done one of these lessons, so good luck. So the first thing I want you to be thinking about is, what are decimals? When do we see them? When do we use them? And you should have already had to think about this in the task before. So having a little brainstorm, and you can pause the video and maybe jot down some examples if you haven't already done that. When do we see them? And there's some examples on that pic collage that I shared. So we see it in weight and measurement. We see it when we are looking into space and how far apart those objects are in space, because we can't actually say those giant numbers sometimes and we need decimals to help explain how far apart they are. We use decimals all the time in money and currency conversions. So it's really important that we know what decimals actually are. So they are just a fraction of a number. So I'm going to draw some example of decimal numbers for you. So we can have decimals that go to the 10th column. So the number here is broken into tenths. So the same as looking at if we have 2 whole rectangles. So we know that all of these are 2 wholes, so that's what we're seeing here. And then this one here is broken into 10 parts. Obviously they would be even parts, mine are not very even. And we can see that we've got 2 wholes and then we've got only 4 of the tenths left. So imagine that these are beautifully coloured in. So you can see that that is the same as that 2 and 4 tenths. As we are working on addition with decimals today, I would like to just recap what addition actually means. So addition is adding 2 numbers or more together to make a bigger number. And we've been practicing formal methods of addition actually already this year, so this should come back to you pretty quickly. But one more key thing I wanted to make sure I reminded you is that when you're adding with decimals and one number has more decimals than the other number, for example, you can fill in those spaces with zeros to help you line up the decimals and the numbers correctly. So I'll give you an example in a second, but don't forget to fill in those gaps with decimals to help you keep your numbers all in line. Alright, so we're going to do some practice and we're going to work on addition strategies just really quickly. We already should know this, but just to recap. So I'm going to give you one sum that you can practice now when you pause the video. So pause now so you can practice. So this one was quite simple because it's all single digit answers. So what I mean by that is 4 plus 5 is 9, 2 plus 1 is 3, and 3 plus 5 is 8. So we didn't actually have to regroup. So I'm going to give you another example where some regrouping will be involved, just as one more little practice, and you're going to pause the video after I write it as well. So 379 plus 686. Pause the video and work out your answer. The answer is going to be 9 plus 6 is 15. So we put the ones number down, which is the 5, and carry the tens. So now we have 1 plus 7 plus 8. So a simple strategy would be to add the 1 and the 7 together, so we can just double 8, which is 16. Carry the 1 again, and then 6 plus 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. So our answer is 1065. Check your answer, make sure you got it right. Okay, so our next one I'm going to work with you on is addition with decimals and the simple rules that we have to have. So I'm going to get you to follow on and have a go at this without me once I set it out. So can you please pause the video? Now I'll work it out with you. So we're still doing all the same rules of addition. The only thing that is different is that we have to remember to actually put down the decimal. Otherwise our answer is not going to be in decimals anymore and it will be way bigger than it's meant to be. So 3 plus 6 is 9. 2 plus 4 is, oh, I nearly wrote 8 because I was thinking of my times tables. 2 plus 4 is 6. Got that decimal in directly underneath the other decimal. We're always lining them up in addition sums. 8 plus 2 is 10. And then 9 plus 1 is 10, so 17. And 7 plus 1 is 8. So our answer is 870 decimal 69, or 0.69 hundredths. You have to say hundredths if you say it like that. All right. One other thing I'd like to show you, and then you're going to have a special mission to complete on Google Forms, is when you have decimal numbers that have different amounts of decimals, there are some easy ways to make sure you don't get confused. So if I have this number, so 896 decimal 23.23. If I have a number, and I'm not going to put it in the place yet, that looks like this. So this one has 1, 2, 3 decimal places, and this one only has 2. A nice little strategy for that is to actually line up the decimals. That's what we always have to do. But it's going to look a bit funny because we're so used to having the exact same amount on this side of our adding. So I'll show you what you can do. So a simple strategy is just to fill the gaps once you've got the decimals lined up. Fill the gaps with 0 so that you don't get confused and it doesn't change the answer. So pause the video and have a go at working this one out. Alright, so the answer to this question is 0 plus 7, 7, 3 plus 7 is 10, 7 plus 3 is 10. Forgot one major thing is to put the decimal first so that you don't forget it, or you can, if you do it like me and you see it on the way, that's very handy, but making sure that it's in that line. 1 plus 6 is 7, so double 7, 14. 10 plus 7 is 17, and then 16 plus 1, 17. So our answer is 1,774 decimal 7 thousandths. That's how we can say that, or we could say 0.007.